Guys, welcome to Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. As Professor Farnsworth on Futurama would say, good news, everyone. That is a horrible Futurama impression, but I wanted to do it. Good news, women have destroyed trust in the news media, and I specifically mean women. The reason why I can say this is because I've been around for a very, very long time, many decades, and I watched the news as a kid when big things happened. I remember watching when the Twin Towers came down. That was as an adult, obviously. But a lot of the reporting over the years has gotten more and more salacious. It's not about just telling you the news. It's about telling you how to feel about the news. And that kind of coincided with CNN and them having to find ways to just talk all day long about nonsense to fill the gaps. How did they do this? By bringing in women. And increasingly, women are now the newscasters, the news reporters. They're the women collecting the news. They're the ones writing the stories. And I've got a couple of things I want to go over here that kind of give that as a great example. First thing I'm going to pull up is Dave Portnoy. Interesting. Actually, I'll do that last. Maybe that's the best. I'll do the Dave Portnoy segment last. But it's very telling. And I'll get into that portion in a minute. But anyway, we'll quickly get into it. So how it started, right here, this is just a little pull-up I have. And it's not just America. And that's why I pulled up this phys.org article. Women are still more likely to present and report the news than appear in it, meaning they're the ones talking about all the news, but they're not doing much that really makes the news. They say record proportions of reporters and presenters were women, 68%, and appeared as in stories as sources, 33%. And this is for New Zealand. That's why I happen to pull this up, because I just did a search in general, and it said, oh, okay. So even in overseas areas, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, whatever, more and more women are reporting the news. And what comes with that? Opinion. They can't just report the news. They're brought on to tell you how to feel about it and how to think about it. But I'll tell you something. Everybody's kind of done with it because there is no middle ground. Most women tend to be left-leaning, as you know. And what brought this up for me as a story is I was watching a Gavin Newsom interview, and he got a softball interview, and it was a woman giving it to him. And then I watched another Joe Biden, and it was a woman. And then I watched a couple of senators on TV, and it was women. And I said, where are the guys asking like the hard, meaningful, impactful question? When it's women asking the Democrats, it's fluff stuff, at least here in the United States. And when women are attacking, or I should say asking, but attacking is accurate, conservatives here in the United States, it's asking them about like stuff that only matters to the left and emotional stuff. And again, it was women asking it. Well, this is just from 2021, so only 2 years ago. The Backroom USA Today newsroom is now majority female, so sees gains in Black, Hispanic, and Asian American journalists. So it's more important about that they're female and their diversity background than it is on how well they report the news. I also pulled this up. All I did, and I'm going to do a refresh here so you guys know I'm legit, that like, you can see here the search differences, right? Host, male, female. I just typed in CNN hosts. I'm going to hit enter. There's the page, so you know I didn't doctor anything. And other than Anderson Cooper here, look at this. They're all women. All these women. There's two guys. So that you have Anderson Cooper here twice, and another dude down here. Who CNN anchor talks journalism, politics, and foreign policy. Other than that, it's all women. All of this is women. And so what's happening? The news is moving away from being credible and being news and more about news opinion and how to feel about things and what you should think about things. And of course, we know that goes left-leaning. So what's the fallout from all of this? Daytime rating. Now here, if you don't know who The View is, they're a bunch of clucking chickens that are extremely left. The View is least watched season to date. And this is as of 2015. It's only gotten worse since then. But why do they keep them on? Because it's a political show. So even going back 7 years ago, When people are tired of watching these clucking chickens, and here's what's funny. This is going up against a bunch of soap operas. And for those of you overseas that don't know what soap operas are, they're like hyper emotional, short 1 hour, half hour, 1 hour TV programs where it's all about romance and dating and very dramatic, over the top. My mom used to watch this crap and I couldn't stand it. The View comes in dead last out of all of them. Same thing here. Americans have the lowest trust in news in the world. Now, this is written by the Liberal Patriot, but I did see it on other websites that were not a Liberal Patriot. So for you guys that always want to complain that I'm reading something from a biased news source, like everything's biased, that's the point nowadays. They say people are aware of America's infamous political polarization and the seepage of strange partisan and ideological outlooks in every aspect of modern life. Perhaps less well understood. I'm going to try that again. Perhaps less well understood. The increase in seemingly irresolvable partisan conflicts also coincides with a total collapse in public trust of objective news reporting among most Americans, and steep increase in the number of Americans checking out from the national news altogether. They go down here and say only 26% of Americans express general trust in the news, tied for the lowest level of trust in the world, along with the citizens of Slovakia. They say trust in the news has fallen in almost half of the countries in our survey and risen in just 7, partly reversing the gains made at the height of the bug. On average, around 4 in 10 of our total sample, 42% say they trust the most of the news most of the time. Finland remains the highest. No, I don't. Is there a close here? There we go. And you can see here how here in the United States, El Trumpo, Mr. Trumpo got in, and all the news started falling off. Why? Because these clucking hens that do the news couldn't keep their opinions out of it. They have to tell you how to feel about it. I mean, and you can say, well, that's not it. Then what is it? Explain it to me. If women are making up the majority of the ones presenting the news, if women are the ones, the majority now doing gains in the back room, they say the newsroom is now majority female, and the news representatives are majority female, and the investigative reporters are the majority female, and the writers for most of these trash sites are majority female. What have we seen happen to the news? It's gone hyper partisan, extremely hard left. And what do? They trash men all the time. So if people don't realize this, but if 100% of people trust the news, and then the news media starts lying about men, and men say, well, I no longer trust the news, you're at 50%. And then if you start lying about, say, conservatives versus liberals, or Tory versus liberal, or whatever, take your political group, half of those people go. So, of course, you're going to be down in the 20%. It's fallen off a cliff. Yeah, Australia 41%, US 26%, Mexico 37%, Colombia 37%. No one trusts the news anymore, and I think this kind of came about too after seeing everything that they've done now to Russell Brand. You know, after seeing what they do to Joe Rogan, after they see what they do to like the Daily Wire, after you see what they do to Jordan Peterson or Andrew Tate or anybody that's just masculine and telling you, hey, be smart and be stoic and be investigative and don't just believe what you're told. Well, they seem to attack those people very, very hard. CNN. This was published today. Is today the 19th? Today is the 23rd. Okay, this is published a couple days ago. I had this saved in my bookmarks over on Twitter. CNN posts the lowest weekend ratings in key demo in its recorded history. This is from 3 days ago. CNN news anchors. The women are in the background. The women are in the reporting. The women are the ones presenting. They can't help but let their opinions and their bias seep into everything. They say ratings challenge CNN hit rock bottom in key viewership demographic last weekend. Another sign of the difficulties facing incoming boss Mark Thompson. Cable news network logged its worst weekend ratings on record in the all-important 25 to 54-year-old demo. CNN, which lost in 1980 and bills itself as the most trusted name in news.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, sir.
Totaled just 55,000 viewers for its weekend slate of shows that includes Sunday political programs, State of the Union with Jake Tapper, and a dude, and of course a woman, Dana Brash, and Fareed Zakira, GPS. So so just imagine this, 55,000 viewers for its weekend slate of shows. That is Saturday and Sunday. On my last video, one video that I did that was, I don't know, between 15 and 45 minutes, depending on which video I've done, I get 100,000 views. I did a video 3 weeks ago, that got 400,000 views. Now, granted, I'm global, but so is CNN. So more people would rather listen to my dumbass talk about things than CNN. That's not good. The network Sunday, well, that's on TV. That's on cable. Now, of course, the internet's a little bit different story. The network's Sunday prime lineup, which featured the whole story with Anderson Cooper and Stanley Tucci, searching for Italy, drew in 43,000 for the demo. You can't keep a TV show on air for advertising for that. You're not going to get nearly enough advertising dollars. They say the ratings are the network's worst since 1991, the earliest the TV data is readily available. CNN's overall viewership wasn't much better. The network logged 345,000 total viewers, trailing Fox News 683 and MSNBC's 424,000. Let me tell you something. Those are not good numbers either. Remember, you're talking about the American news. And now you have dimwit YouTubers like myself logging almost as many views on a couple of videos. And you've got people like Russell Brand and Joe Rogan and Tim Pool and Sargon of Akkad, I'm trying to think of everybody, and Jimmy Dore and even the Young Turks. I can't remember anybody else that's left. Ethan Klein, I don't know. They're getting way more views than the news media. But those shows also are very opinionated. So what's the difference? The difference is these programs try to tell you, we're just telling you the news. We're not biased. We're just explaining things how it is. And if you don't trust us, you're wrong. And then when you go to, I don't know, again, Russell or Rogan or any of these guys, and you listen to them, Joe Rogan has famously said many times, look, I'm stupid. I'm just a guy asking questions. But he asks very good questions, and he asks very poignant questions, where these mouth breathers on TV are asking nonsense to one side and like jaded gotcha questions to the other side, and then still saying, oh, no, we're neutral. At least Jimmy Dore or other presenters are like, hey, I'll tell you right now, I have opinions about this, and I'm going to tell you about them. And then people tend to gravitate with opinions they agree with, but many times they gravitate to opinions they don't agree with if they're at least attacked from a place of understanding. You know, I've listened to Brand or Rogan or Jimmy Dore or other presenters, and I'm like, I do not agree with that take. But you know what? They're not calling you stupid or misinformation or malinformation or that you don't know what you're talking about, or they just outright throw you away as regards to what you think. A lot of times, as a matter of fact, Brand at the end of his stream will say, anyway, that's what I think. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. And then in later videos, he said, a lot of you responded with this. And he said, so I looked into this a little bit. Like that back and forth, that's clutch. These news stations, they don't, the lamestream journalists don't do that anymore. They just tell you, and they're like, if you don't trust us because we're the smart people, you shut up. And let me close it off with this little clip of Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy from Stula Presidente on Twitter, he was getting ready to do some event, And he got a letter from one of the advertisers at the event saying, hey, do you know the Washington Post is reaching out to us for an interview, and they're accusing you of some things. Are you aware of this? And Dave said, no, I didn't. Can I get a copy of that? And he got a copy of it. And then he decided to call the woman that was doing the article on him. Now, you can just search for, I just did a search for Dave Portnoy, and this came up in the search feed. So if you want to listen to the 12-minute video, but basically he says, hey, why are you sending this negative stuff out to people that are advertising or that are sponsoring the event? And she said, oh, we just do that to be dramatic. But we were going to call you and get your side of the story. And he said, why would you send something negative out about me without even talking to me? And she said, oh, we were going to contact you before we released it so we could get your side of the story. And at the beginning of this, he did tell her, hey, I'm recording this just so you know. And so he recorded it and he posted it. And he said, let's see, because the woman said, let's set up an appointment then. And she said, are you free 10 a.m. tomorrow for an interview? And he said, yeah. But I'll really be surprised if you call me. I don't expect it. I more than likely, he pretty much thought that they would just blow him off and then write the hit piece anyway. And what happened? That's exactly what happened. They wrote the hit piece on him, and they never called him. So he writes here, it's surreal we live in a country where activist reporters can openly get caught lying and admitting they're creating a false narrative to generate engagement and controversy and still publish the article. And you see down here, the Washington Post. This weekend, New York will host Dave Portnoy's One Bite Pizza Festival. Participating pizzerias have had to navigate buzz around the festival and backlash against the Barstool Sports founder's controversial remarks and allegations of misconduct, of bedroom misconduct. They did it anyway. He's like, look, I'm recording this. You're writing a hit piece about me. You haven't even interviewed me. You don't say any of the good things I've done about charity and all these other things. And you haven't reached out to me for comment. This is a hit piece. And you can see here the Twitter, what do you want to call it? Community notes. It says here, a phone call between Emily Heil and Dave Portnoy was shared prior to publication in which the WAPO journalist admits to intentionally misleading advertisers into speaking negatively of the One Bite Pizza Festival. And they have a link to the video, which is this up here. They agreed to an interview, but the next day, WAPO canceled. This is exactly what they're talking about. And if you go to this link, right? If you go to this link here, it's been viewed 14 million times. And again, that doesn't mean they clicked and read. It just means it's been presented to 14 million people on Twitter. It has 1,600 likes and 7,400 comments. So it's basically a 5 or 6 to 1 ratio. And that's just on the main one. And you can see down through here, they posted it a few times. Everything they're getting ratioed into the dirt. And you can see here's the final one they posted, 1,100 likes, 4,500. And again, the community notes say the reporter initially suggested 10 a.m., which he agreed to. Then WAPO canceled it and postponed to a later time that was close to the article publishing time. This is a common tactic by corporate press, because then if they call you 15 minutes before they release the story and they go ring, ring, oh, he's not there. Okay, publish the story. Unavailable for comment. That's what they do. And you can see they just 20. This is Jeremy over the quartering. I really like him. 20 million followers, less than 200 likes. Oof. And that was obviously a little while ago. And you can see people calling them out. Just roasting them. I posted somewhere on here, I'm like, I expect this ratio to be biblical. So what, and you know what? This was a female. This was a female journalist. I keep saying journalist. I keep saying journalist. I mean journalist. When did all this change? It changed when they decided to become Pravda. It changed when they decided to be activists and not journalists and spread a message. They can't help themselves. They just can't help it. And now that all of them are in controlling the newsrooms and the management, and they're the presenters on TV, they can't help but swing in this direction. And too many people can see the bias. And all it takes, at least for me, many of you guys will say, oh, you read a story from CNN? Come on, dude. Or you read something from Breitbart News, an article from Dude, they're all like this now. But all it takes, so it's like, what do you want me to do? I just pick whoever wrote the article and I read it, and we'll have to assume 50% of it's lies, but you do what you can, at least when it comes to my content. Now, if I want to read about something legitimate, you got to go to 4 or 5 different news sources, ones that report on the right, ones that report on the left, to try to find the truth somewhere in the middle. But all it takes is one story. And what blows me away is the number of people that'll see something they have firsthand personal knowledge of, and they'll see CNN totally screw up the reporting on it, or Fox News, or MSNBC, or whatever, the New York Post. I'm not picking out left or right. I'm just any of them. I'll say Fox News for this one to make some lefties happy. You read something on Fox News, and you personally know that is BS. I know that is wrong. And then the next day you come back to the news and Fox News or CNN or NBC, whoever, says, hey, here's some more news for you. And you go, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Completely forgetting that they just lied to you the day previous. You can't trust any of them about anything. And I think one of the reasons why that Brand and Rogan and maybe, I know some of you call him Tim Fool. I know a lot of you don't like Tim Pool. But one thing I'll say for a lot of these presenters is at least they say, this says this, this says this, this says this. I don't know what's true, but here's what I think about it. And it's at least telling you the news in a way where you say, okay, I kind of know what's going on. Maybe I don't know everything down the rabbit hole, but I get an idea of what's going on in the world, and maybe I should look into it, or maybe I should be concerned, or it's a fluff piece or whatever. That's where we are now. That's where we are now. But my contention is it started with all the women taking they're the voices presenting to on the TV. They're the article writers. They're the women in the newsroom. They're the ones that are the producers and the executives. They cannot help but put their emotions into the news. So the days of just, this is CNN and here's the news, that's gone. That's gone. It's just opinion and bias and it's collapsing. That's the best part about it. The View is doing horrible with those bunch of clucking chickens. CNN's doing horrible. And really, if you look at Fox News and some of these others, their ratings aren't that good either. This is the time for independent journalism. They may, these companies may pay the bills and pay the journalist to go out on site to collect whatever information. And there's 5 or 7 or 10 different agencies, but there's also people that are just going out by themselves. And they're because if you look at the Rittenhouse, case, there was a lot of independent video of just people that are there recording the news. I think news media is dying. I think the rise of the independent journalist is here. And I think it's all because women couldn't keep their damn opinions to themselves. And now it's in everything. And now they're getting destroyed for it. So that's my opinion. Let me know if you guys agree. If you disagree, let me know what you think. And we'll see you in the next one.